So that's it. The Most High said they're going to be destroyed for their violence against their brother Jacob. Obadiah verse 10 again. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces, and foreigners entered in his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. He said strangers, foreigners, came in and captured us out of our land and took us away. Now remember that, strangers and foreigners came and carried us captive. And he said white man was as one of them. All right? Verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother and the day that he became a stranger. Once we got taken by strangers and foreigners, taken from our land into another land, and got our heritage erased, we became strangers. Now the strangers are Gentiles. That's why in the New Testament, when you hear the Most High is going to come to the Gentiles, he wasn't talking about all the other nations. He was talking about his chosen that is scattered amongst the other nations. All right? And I'm going to prove that in 1 second. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. That's why the Most High says, as you're done, I'm going to do back into you. And I'm going to bring that same justice and judgment back on you, man. And the Most High is going to do it. But taking our people, killing our people, raping our people, hanging our people, the Most High is going to do the same to you. All right? And now he said we were strangers, but prove that those strangers, that we're those modern day Gentiles, man. Let's go to Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. So like his second, yes, 1 Corinthians 12 and 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Now first of all, you got to look at that word brethren. That's the Greek word adelphos, which means of the womb. All right? So we're of the same womb. Everybody ain't of the same womb. All right? Wherefore I give, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Now, if you go hardly strict on the word Gentile, it means somebody who is not of the tribe of Israel. Any nation, people, flock, beasts, animals, who is not a Hebrew Israelite. If you go on that strict sense of the word, how can we used to be a Gentile? Because if you are either a Hebrew Israelite or you're not, that lets you know it's spiritual. All right? That's why he said concerning spiritual, brethren. All right? Ye know that ye were... Bible falling apart. I want to get a new one, but it's kind of hard to tear myself away from the... just can't do it. Well, I will. The Spirit make me. But I keep losing my pages. 1 Corinthians 2:12 and 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles. And now he's going to tell you how you were a Gentile. Carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Let's go back to what the Spirit had brought out earlier. Psalms 96:5. He said, all the gods of the nations are idols. So if you're of these other nations, which are Hebrew, not Hebrew Israelites, which means they're Gentiles and heathens, and they're carried by, they worship idols, he said we were carried away by their idols. We had became strangers carried away by idols because we were in captivity and we were brought out of our native land and our heritage, our culture, and started worshiping their gods. All right? Wherefore, and this he said, I'm reading it again. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. He said, we were led to do that. Why? Because once we got took out of our heritage and culture, okay, so I was living back in ancient Rome. Before ancient Rome, I was in ancient Israel. We went into Babylonian slavery. So I had my wife, she was pregnant. Then we grow up in Babylonia for a point in time. Then my child grows up not understanding his full Hebrew roots. Now I can tell him stories. I can show him through stories in the scriptures a little bit about his heritage. But if you go way back into the history, sometimes that didn't happen. In certain kingdoms when we went into slavery, you couldn't speak. You couldn't say anything about the scriptures. You couldn't say anything about your people, your heritage, your way. They made you eat pork. They made you follow, not do everything away from your heritage. That's what one country, when they take over another country, they assimilate them into their ways, their customs, and their ideology. So if my child and his child and then his grandchild eventually grows up in that condition and never goes back to our modern land, then they're going to be following the ways of the heathen. All right? And this is what the scriptures are saying. We were led away to do these wicked things because of our disobedience. Verse 3. Wherefore I give you to understand. Okay, that's going into something. So we were so-called Gentiles, by the way, because we left our heritage and our culture. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. It's like Ephesians. Let's go to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. And let's look at verse 11. Wherefore remember that being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. So he said we were Gentiles in the flesh, going after our flesh. We were Gentiles acting like, living like them, walking like them, talking like them, obeying their rules and their ways and their ideology. That at that time, when you were so-called Gentile-minded, you were without Mashiach, without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. You had no idea that we are from the land of Israel. That's what it means to be a so-called black man, so-called Latino, so-called Native American Indian. We are the original children of Israel by blood. But if you don't know that, then you are outside of the commonwealth of Israel. And strangers, there go that word strangers again, from the covenants. And covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. So that's how we were living, and that's how we were existing, because we had lost our way. That's why Yahweh Shai said, go not to the way of the Gentiles or the Samaritans, but go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's why he said that. All right? So that's how, and now going back to Obadiah, he said when they became strangers, because they helped us and made us become strangers. That's why the Most High it's got an end for that white man. Edomite is going down, man. Edom is going down. The Most High has got his number and is ready to bring him down. And bring down any nigga who's loving him and his system and love being a stranger, man. Because they refuse to open up their minds and in their hearts and their souls to the will of the Father. But they can't open up the will of the Father because the Most High is taken away from them. This is Isaiah 6 and 8. He says, also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not. He said he's talking to the people. He told the people to hear indeed, but don't understand. See indeed and perceive not. So they hear the man of the Lord speaking the words of the Lord, but they don't understand and won't listen and hearken to him. They see the man of the Lord showing the evidence out there in the highways and the byways, teaching the people how to come back into the good graces of the Most High, and they won't hearken and listen and come humble themselves to the word of the Most High. Why? Because they want to go ahead and keep doing what they're doing, and the Most High has blinded them. make the heart of this